Heartwarming mistake reveals hidden opportunity. 5 minutes later, her life changed forever. Emily poured steaming coffee into a chipped mug, her heart racing like a wild horse. Saturday mornings at Clara's diner were a blur of sizzling bacon, clattering plates, and the sweet, nostalgic smell of cinnamon rolls. But today, anxiety danced in her chest. She had bills to pay, a family to support, and dreams whispering for attention, just out of reach. As she hurriedly wrote down an order for Marcus, a familiar face sitting at his usual booth, her pen slipped. 2 eggs sunny side up morphed into scrambled, and the chaos erupted like a firecracker. "Sorry. I'm so sorry, Marcus," she exclaimed, her cheeks flushing hotter than the griddle. The retired veteran just chuckled, a warm laugh that drew attention from other diners. "Don't worry, Emily. I could use a little adventure in my breakfast." In that humorous moment, something sparked between them. Emily could feel it. A connection, laced with understanding amidst the stress of life. They chatted, the conversation flowing like the coffee from her pot, and for a moment, the weight of the world lifted. Marcus leaned forward, his eyes twinkling with encouragement. "You know, you've got something special, don't you? I see it every time you serve us. Have you ever thought about starting your own food business?" Emily's breath caught. The notion felt like a sweet ember igniting a flame within her, but as quick as it sparked, it dulled. Back home, the burden of responsibilities wrapped around her like a heavy blanket. Her parents worked tirelessly in low-paying jobs, and the stress manifested in worried conversations. They pressed her to focus on steady earnings, not dreams that felt distant, almost unreal. "Emily, sweetheart, we need you here," her mother said, her voice laced with concern. "Dreams can wait, can't they?" Emily forced a smile but felt a tear prick her eye. Torn between loyalty to her family and her flames of ambition, she nodded, feeling the bitterness of doubt sink in. Weeks passed after that fateful conversation with Marcus. Egged on by his encouragement, she gathered the courage to set up her own pop-up food stall. The adrenaline rushed through her veins as she prepared her homemade dishes, her faith growing stronger with each savory bite she crafted. That first day was magical, the crowd swelled, phones whipped out, people snapped photos of her food, tasting joy on their tongues. But just as defeat often marched hand in hand with success, whispers of skepticism crawled into her world like unwelcome clouds. Cruel comments twisted like knives as tongues wagged around town. Who does she think she is? Just a waitress dreaming too big. It hurt. Each rumor planted seeds of doubt in her already conflicted heart. Disappointment simmered inside her, weighing down her spirit. Why couldn't she be both successful and supportive? She longed for her family to see her vision, yet felt the ghost of their fears haunting her every move. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. At this crossroads, where aspirations seemed intertwined with feelings of failure, Emily took a moment to breathe. Tears threatened to spill as she stared into the night sky, reflecting on the voices of doubt clashing against her dreams. But deep inside, she felt the stirring of hope. Maybe this was what success truly meant, the strength to pursue dreams despite the noise of negativity. With her heart swirling in uncertainty, she knew she stood at the edge of something transformative. With each breath she took, an undeniable question lingered: could she forge her own path while honoring her family's love? Or would she succumb to expectations and slip back into oblivion? The answer lay just out of reach, waiting for her next move. Emily awoke the next morning with the sun spilling through her window, casting warm rays across her tired face. She blinked against the light and felt the weight of yesterday's doubt still hanging over her like a fog. But as she sat up, she heard the distant roar of the city waking up around her, cars whizzing by, the chatter of neighbors, the occasional laugh from a child playing outside. This hum was life, and within it lay the pulse of possibility. Taking a deep breath, Emily swung her legs over the bed and stood up, determination flooding her veins. It was time for a change, a leap into the unknown that held both fear and promise. She dressed quickly, throwing on a blue apron stained with flour, her good luck charm since she started baking. Today, she promised herself, would be different. After breakfast, Emily headed to the market to prepare for her next pop-up. The weather was crystal clear, perfect for attracting customers. As she set up her stall, she couldn't shake the nagging whisper of doubt. What if no one showed up? What if the same faces that had doubted her returned to criticize her efforts? Nonetheless, as the first customers trickled in, a thrill coursed through her. She served her homemade cinnamon rolls, piping hot and drizzled with icing, next to piles of fresh fruit and vibrant, colorful salads. The aroma wafted around the market like a siren's song. "These look amazing," a young woman exclaimed, snapping a picture of the vibrant display. Emily smiled, warmth blooming in her chest. She found herself chatting more, sharing stories behind her dishes, her enthusiasm building with each compliment. The laughter, the smiles, the engaged conversations fueled her spirit and drowned out the negativity that had haunted her, but just as she began to feel the swell of success, she spotted a familiar face at the edge of the crowd. Kathy, her old classmate, was watching her with narrowed eyes. Emily's heart sank. Kathy had never been shy about sharing her opinions. Would she spread another rumor? "Hey, Em." Kathy called out, swaggering over with a group of friends. "Look at you, playing chef. What's next, a reality show?" Laughter rippled among her friends, but Emily held her ground. "Actually, yes," Emily replied, her voice steady. "I'm starting my own food brand. You're welcome to try something, if you'd like." Shock rippled across Kathy's face, but before she could respond, a little boy tugged at Emily's apron. "Can I have that one, please?" he asked, pointing with wide, eager eyes at her signature cinnamon roll. Emily's heart melted. "Of course. Let me pack one up for you." She freshened her smile and handed over the treat. The boy beamed as he took the roll, and his laughter chased away the tension. As the day went by, more customers gathered, lured by the chatter and sweet smells. Emily worked tirelessly, her confidence growing with each satisfied smile and every positive interaction. For the first time, she felt the fears of yesterday slipping away, replaced by a buoyant sense of achievement, but as the sun began to set, wavering light cast shadows on her hopes. She felt a moment of vulnerability, the silence weighing heavily. Would this success last? Could she sustain this newfound dream while supporting her family? Just then, Marcus appeared, his presence like an anchor in the sea of uncertainty. "Hey, Emily," he called, raising a cup of coffee in her direction. "I had to come by and see the magic myself." Her heart fluttered at the sight of him. The warmth of his encouragement became a beacon in the buzzing crowd. "Looks like you've got quite a following here," he said, nodding towards the bustling line at her stall. "Thanks to you, really," she admitted, the gratitude bubbling over. A connection simmered quietly between them, a silent acknowledgement of battles fought and won. But as she gazed into his eyes, the question bubbled back up, could this be more? With her heart racing and hope renewed, Emily pondered the possibilities ahead. The thrill of this moment felt like the first chapter of a story yet unwritten. Yet as uncertainty loomed, one thought taunted her: what if it all came crashing down? The sun dipped lower, casting shadows that elongated like her fears. She wondered if she could truly balance her ambitions with her family's expectations. Just then, Marcus leaned in closer, his voice low. "Emily, I see something in you that's extraordinary. Have you thought about a bigger vision?" Her heart raced at the implications. What could that vision look like? As she locked eyes with Marcus, possibilities danced in the air around them like fireflies. It felt like she was standing on the edge of something profound, but a part of her wondered, what would it truly take to leap forward? Emily's breath caught as Marcus's words settled in. A bigger vision? The idea was thrilling and terrifying all at once. She felt a rush of warmth and uncertainty clash inside her. What did he see in her? I've got ideas, she replied, trying to keep her voice steady as excitement bubbled beneath the surface. Like, creating a community event around food, local recipes, things that bring joy. But I don't know how to start. Don't underestimate yourself, he said, a gentle smile forming on his lips. You've built this up from nothing. You've got passion, and people respond to that. Imagine if you could inspire others to share their own stories through food. The words ignited a spark in Emily's mind. She imagined a festival with families sharing recipes, cooking together, and celebrating their backgrounds. For an instant, her fears faded, replaced by joy and hope. You really think so? She asked, searching Marcus's eyes for assurance. Absolutely. But it takes more than dreaming about it. You need a plan, some structure, he said, his tone firm yet encouraging. Have you considered collaborating with local businesses? They could sponsor you. Plus, social media could help amplify your message. As she contemplated this, a wave of confidence washed over her. Marcus was right. The thought of collaboration sent her mind racing. She envisioned herself reaching out, gathering support, and building something meaningful. But the shadows of doubt crept back in. What if she failed? What if she put herself out there and it all fell apart? That's a lot of pressure, Marcus. What if I can't pull it off? She whispered, her voice trembling. Then you try again, he replied, his eyes unwavering. The best stories are written after the biggest challenges. Remember today? You faced down your doubts in one go. This could be just another part of that journey. Feeling the weight of his encouragement, Emily fought to silence the nagging voice in her head. You're right. If I want to create change, I have to be the change. She felt a surge of gratitude for Marcus but also for herself. Maybe she was finally ready to take that step into the unknown. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in brilliant hues. As the market began to wind down, she thanked everyone who had come to her stall, her heart swelling with appreciation. The little boy with the cinnamon roll waved goodbye, and each smile exchanged felt like a promise. Before she could fully process it, Marcus grabbed a pen from his pocket and a paper napkin. Here, he said, scribbling furiously. This is my number. Call me whenever you want to brainstorm. We can bounce ideas around. I'm excited to see what you come up with. Emily accepted the napkin, feeling the flutter in her chest. With that simple gesture, he became a lifeline. And as Marcus began to say his goodbyes, she felt a mix of regret and hope. Wait! She called out, catching his eye one last time. Thank you for believing in me. It means so much. His smile lit the night. You've got this, Emily. Just remember, the only thing standing in your way is you. And I don't see that, not anymore. As he walked away, Emily clutched the napkin tightly, her mind racing with a plan. It was more than just a pop-up now, it was a potential revolution. The possibility of release, reflection, and redefinition was within her grasp, but in the midst of her excitement, a pang of anxiety took hold. What if change brought conflict or criticism? What if stepping forward created more distance from her family? Could she really forge a new path without losing her way? With the day's lingering warmth still enveloping her, she realized something essential: this was just the beginning. But one thought teased at her mind, lurking in the background: would she be able to face what was waiting for her, beyond the horizon of her dreams? Just as she began to pack up her stall, her phone buzzed in her pocket. Fumbling to pull it out, she saw a message notification and her heart lurched. It was from her sister. "We need to talk about Mom." Something happened. With unease unfurling in her stomach, Emily's pulse quickened. What could that mean? Emily stared at the screen, the message blinking back at her, stark and urgent. Her heart raced, thoughts swirling around her head like a whirlwind. She could feel the warmth of the day slowly dissipating, replaced by a chill of dread creeping down her spine. It wasn't just the message, it was the weight of everything that had happened today. What could have happened? She thought, uneasiness wrapping around her as if it were a heavy blanket. There was so much on the line, so many new ideas swimming in her mind, and now, that familiar worry about her family was pulling her back. Drawing in a deep breath, she typed back quickly, "What happened? Is she okay?" As she waited for a response, the world around her blurred into a background hum. The fading laughter from nearby stalls and the chatter of families was suddenly muted. All Emily could focus on was the screen in front of her. Then it buzzed again. "It's about Dad. Can you meet me at the cafe? We need to discuss this." Panic surged within her. Why didn't her sister mention anything about their dad? Was something wrong with him too? She shoved her phone into her pocket, her resolve hardening. "I have to go," she whispered to herself, a fierce determination rising to the surface. She couldn't afford to get lost in the chaos. She had to face this. As she gathered her things, her chest tightened. The tiny stall that had brought her so much joy today suddenly felt foreign, and the excitement from Marcus's visit faded like a forgotten dream. But then, a thought flickered back to her. Marcus's words, the potential within her. She had fought so hard to get to this point, she couldn't let her family hold her back. With one last gaze at the flickering lights of the market, she turned and walked toward the cafe, her feet moving faster with each step. Inside, she spotted her sister at a corner table, worry etched across her features. Emily slid into the chair opposite her, trying to mask the tremor in her voice. "What is going on?" she asked, her heart a drumbeat in her ears. Her sister took a deep breath, glancing around as if to ensure no one could overhear. "It's about Mom's health. She's been forgetting things lately. I didn't want to worry you until we had more information," but the word struck Emily like a slap. The world muted again, and all she could hear was the rush of blood pounding through her veins. Memories of laughter at their kitchen table, their mother's warm hugs, and her endless stream of recipes flooded her mind. "I didn't realize it was this serious," Emily replied, her voice shaking slightly. "Why didn't you call me sooner? We needed to understand what we were dealing with first," her sister said, her voice almost pleading. "But now I think we need to figure out how to help her." Emily nodded, feeling a knot form. "We'll figure it out together," she said, although her own fears loomed large. How could she be the change she wanted to see in her community if she couldn't even help her own family? As their conversation deepened, ideas of how to support their mom tumbled around in Emily's mind. She could share her passion for food with her mother, create a way for their family to connect over cherished recipes and traditions. Maybe that was the bridge she needed to build, a way to bring joy back into their lives during a difficult time. But would it work? Her confidence was like a flickering candle in the raging storm of doubt. Would her mother even be able to participate? Just then, her phone buzzed again. With a tense heart, Emily glanced down. It was Marcus, his name lighting up the screen. "Hey. Just checking in to see how you're feeling about our chat earlier. Let us keep the momentum going." In that moment, hope and anxiety wrestled inside her. Here was Marcus, excited and eager, while on the other side of the table was her sister, facing a growing crisis. Could she truly juggle both worlds? Breathless, Emily felt the weight of her choices. This was more than just about food festivals and community spirit, it was about her family and facing her own fears head-on. What if the path to her dreams could also lead her back to her roots? With renewed determination, she texted him back. "I need to talk. Can I call you later?" As her sister spoke about their next steps, Emily felt a flicker of clarity. In the chaos of family, she might just find the inspiration she needed to turn the tide in her life. Yet, looming questions waited in the back of her mind. Would she be strong enough to rise to the occasion? And what about the festival? Just as hope bloomed in her chest, doubts crept back. Could she really juggle her ambitions with her new family responsibilities? The answers hung in the air, tantalizingly close yet just out of reach. Emily sat there, her sister's voice a distant sound. Her mind raced with a flurry of thoughts, each one crashing against the other. How could she be there for her family, especially her mother, and still chase her dreams? The sunlight streaming through the cafe window felt too bright, too happy for the moment. Emily? Her sister's voice broke through her fog. Are you okay? She blinked, focusing back on her sister's concerned eyes. Yeah, I need to get my head straight. She glanced back at her phone, the screen still lit up with Marcus's message. Do you think Mom is really starting to forget things? Emily asked, a lump forming in her throat. I'm worried, her sister admitted, shifting in her chair. Last week, she couldn't remember the recipe for her famous lasagna. You know how much she loves to cook. Emily's heart sank. The thought of her mother losing those cherished parts of herself was unbearable. But the flicker of an idea ignited within her. What if we do something together? Like a cooking night? Cooking? Her sister raised an eyebrow, a mix of concern and curiosity. Yeah. We could go through her old recipes, and maybe even create a family cookbook. It could help her remember and give us a chance to connect. And she hesitated, we could even make it part of the festival. It would be like sharing our family with the community. A slight smile tugged at her sister's lips. That could work. It would give Mom something to focus on. Exactly. It's what she loves, Emily replied, her heart racing at the thought. If we could bring her into this world, it might help us all. They brainstormed ideas, the atmosphere between them shifting from heavy anxiety to an exciting buzz. Emily felt the weight on her shoulders lighten as they discussed the recipes her mother had mastered. Just then, her phone buzzed again. This time, it was a call from Marcus. Hey, Emily? You still there? I know you said you'd call me later. She hesitated, glancing at her sister who nodded encouragingly. I'll just take a minute, she said, her heart pounding as she answered the call. Marcus. I'm so glad you called, she said, her voice a bit steadier now. I was worried about you. Everything okay? Yeah, just family stuff. But I have this idea, and I think it could connect our community. She quickly explained the cooking night and the cookbook idea. I love it. His excitement was palpable through the phone. Why not feature some recipes during the festival? It could be a tribute to your mom and a way to show everyone the heart of your family. Emily felt a fresh wave of inspiration. Do you really think the festival would embrace that? Definitely. It could be a beautiful story, bringing your roots to the forefront. Her sister nudged her gently, prompting her to focus. You know what? I think I need your guidance on this. It's a bit overwhelming to take on alone. Let's make it happen together, Marcus said with a firm yet warm tone. This could be the turning point for both of us. When Emily hung up, all apprehensions seemed to fade. She had a plan, and with her family's love and support, she could bring the spirit of home into the community. She turned to her sister, excitement sparkling in her eyes. Did you hear that? We're doing this. But just as hope blossomed, a sudden realization hit her. What if she failed? What if her mother struggled to take part? Emily? You all right? Her sister's voice jolted her back. Yeah, just wondering if we can really pull it off, she admitted, a wisp of doubt lingering. Hey, if anyone can do this, it's us. We faced the challenges together, remember? The determination in her sister's words wrapped around Emily like a warm hug. They could do it. But in the flutter of hope and excitement, another thought flickered. Would this truly be the answer they were looking for, or just another step on a path fraught with uncertainty? As they plotted their next steps, one question loomed larger: was it possible to heal their family while also embracing the future? The next day dawned crisp and clear, a beautiful Saturday that danced with promise. Emily awoke with newfound energy, her heart beating with a rhythm of hope. She stepped into the kitchen, inhaling the rich aroma of coffee. Her mother was already seated at the table, fiddling with an old recipe book. "Good morning, Mom," Emily chirped, feeling the warmth of the day seep into her spirit. "Morning, dear," her mother replied, a gentle smile lighting her face, though her eyes seemed distant. "I was just looking for that cookie recipe you loved." Emily felt the familiar twinge of anxiety as she watched her mother search through the pages, struggling to remember. "How about we find it together?" "I'd love your help," Emily suggested, eager to steer the conversation into cherished memories. "Okay," her mother's voice faltered, the uncertainty lingering like shadows across her face. They sat down together on the worn kitchen bench, the book open between them, an artifact of sweet nostalgia. As they flipped through the pages, Emily's sister joined them, her presence grounding the moment. "What's the plan for today?" she asked, settling beside their mom. "We're finding that cookie recipe," Emily said, enthusiasm bubbling up. "It's the one with the sprinkles, right?" Her sister chimed in, her eyes glinting with excitement. "Yes. And then maybe we could add some new recipes for the cookbook? Something to excite Mom, something fresh." Their mother smiled softly, a flicker of recognition passing through her eyes. "I used to make them every year for the school bake sale. And the sprinkles. They had to be colorful, otherwise I'd get so many complaints." Emily and her sister exchanged knowing glances, their determination renewed. They spent that morning pouring love into the mixing bowl, measuring ingredients, sharing laughter, and reminiscing. Each stir and sprinkle felt like bringing her back to life, piece by piece. The process was liberating, but deep down, a part of Emily battled an undercurrent of worry. Would this be enough to combat the uncertainties that loomed over them all? Later that afternoon, with the kitchen filled with the aroma of baking cookies, a sudden knock on the door interrupted their moment. Emily opened it to find Marcus, holding a large box filled with colorful recipe cards and cooking tools. "Perfect timing," he exclaimed, stepping inside with enthusiasm. "I thought we could use these for our cooking night. It's like a mini treasure chest." Her heart soared as she took in the sight of Marcus, full of energy as he unloaded the items onto their worn kitchen table. The tools sparkled like the moments they were sharing, each one promising to write new stories. "Wow, this is incredible," her sister said, her eyes lighting up with excitement. "We can use these to teach Mom new things. It'll be fun." Emily felt a mix of relief and hope. Somehow, amidst the chaos, they were building a fragile thread of connection, something that could hold their family together. But as the day filled with happiness, a fearful thought crept in again. What if their mother didn't participate? What if her memory slipped away during their attempts to reconnect? The evening descended with a beautiful sunset, the light painting the kitchen in warm hues. They gathered around the kitchen table, armed with recipes and ingredients, but Emily couldn't shake the weight of her worries. "Do you think Mom will remember?" Before her sister could respond, their mother broke in with a soft voice. "Why don't we have a family recipe night?" she suggested, confusion dissipating into something warm. "I remember how much we used to celebrate that." Emily's heart skipped. In that moment, the fear gave way, and hope flickered brilliantly. "Yes. We'd love that." But just as they began to plan, a sudden chill swept over Emily. Would this new spark be enough to make lasting change? Could they really pull off this cooking night and create something magical? As they began jotting down recipes, Emily couldn't help but wonder if the family she was trying so hard to save was still there, waiting to be found. Would she finally uncover her mother beneath the layers of forgetfulness, or would this just lead to more heartache? The next day brought a soft rain that tapped lightly against the windows, a comforting backdrop to the plans brewing in Emily's mind. She barely slept the night before, excitement coursing through her. Today was family recipe night. She shuffled into the kitchen, the scent of coffee mingling with the fresh earthiness of the rain. "Hey, good morning," she said, voice full of enthusiasm as she found her mother at the kitchen table again, a few recipe cards already spread out in front of her. "Good morning, sweetie," her mother replied, a hint of surprise in her tone, as if she hadn't expected Emily to be so energized today. "Look what I found," Emily exclaimed, rummaging through the box Marcus had brought. She pulled out a colorful colored card with a smiling cookie on it. "This one's for double chocolate chip cookies. What do you think?" Her mother's eyes widened momentarily with recognition. "I remember making those. We always had them around the holidays." The words fell softly from her lips, but Emily noticed a brief spark in her mother's gaze. It made her heart flutter. "Yes. Let us make them. We can even use Marcus's extra spices to make them unique." She glanced toward the pantry, already imagining how each layer would come together, savored by the family she hoped to bring closer. Just then, her sister came barreling in, rain-soaked and giggling. "You'd think I just took a swim." She laughed, shaking the droplets from her hair. "What's the first recipe?" "Double chocolate chip cookies," said Emily, her face beaming. The thought of the three of them working together brightened her spirit even more. As they moved through the steps, laughter erupted amidst the mix of flour and cocoa. Emily measured the sugar, and her sister poured the chocolate chips, giggling as they fell everywhere. Meanwhile, their mother stirred the mixture, the sound blending harmoniously with the rain. "Do you remember the time we made cookies for the neighbor's bake sale?" Emily's sister asked. "I think it was right after Mom taught us to bake." "Yes," Emily replied, her excitement spilling over. "And we dyed the frosting all those crazy colors, even tried to make it look like a rainbow. Only to watch them melt together on the way to the sale," their mother added, her laughter bubbling up, carrying both the warmth of nostalgia and a touch of sadness. With each memory they shared, Emily felt the barriers slowly crumbling. Even as her mother seemed to drift between moments, there was a heartbeat of connection. But halfway through their baking, Emily noticed her mother staring blankly at the recipe card for the double chocolate cookies. It was like a dark cloud passing overhead. Her heart sank. What if they were losing her again? "Mom, is everything okay?" Emily's voice trembled with concern. Her mother looked up, the confusion in her eyes evident. I think I forgot something," she murmured, slowly glancing back at the recipe. "Just start with us, we're making it together. Remember how we always did that?" Emily placed a hand over her mother's, squeezing gently. "Together," her mother echoed, a faint smile forming. "That's how we always did it." The connection flickered once more, lifting Emily's spirits. They finished the cookies, the kitchen buzzing with playful banter and sweet memories. But as they pulled the cookies from the oven, smoke poured into the air unexpectedly. Emily's heart sank again. Had they done something wrong? "Oops." Her sister laughed, waving her hand in front of her face. "Maybe we added a little too much love." Emily laughed, shaking her head, but there was a throbbing tension in her chest. Would the moment end in disaster? The aroma filled the kitchen, overpowering the smoke. They each took a bite, staring at each other with wide eyes. "No way!" Emily exclaimed, surprised at how they tasted even better than expected. Just then, the doorbell rang again, disrupting their joyful moment. Emily shared a quick glance with her mother, her heart racing. Who could it be now? As she opened the door, the world outside seemed brighter, but there stood a surprise: a tall man. Familiar yet distant. The corners of his mouth tugged into a smile, but Emily caught a flicker of anxiety behind his eyes. "Hey, Emily. I heard about the family recipe night." The words hung in the air, heavy with promise and uncertainty, making Emily's heart race harder. Could this man change everything, even lead to more connections than she ever dreamed of? She hesitated for a moment, the weight of the unknown settling in. Would this be the moment everything shifted, or would it unravel what they had just started to piece together? Emily stared at the man, the familiar contour of his face pulling at something deep inside her. It was Liam, the boy next door from so many years ago. He had grown tall and broad-shouldered, yet held on to an air of the boy she once knew. The rain pattered against the door behind her, a rhythmic reminder of the chaos waiting just beyond her threshold. "Liam," she finally managed to say, her voice slipping out like a hesitant whisper. The surprise washed over her, and she felt her stomach twist in knots. Was this a distraction or the opportunity she had been waiting for? "Hey, I heard the smell of cookies from outside. I figured I'd come by," he replied, scratching the back of his head, a sheepish smile creeping onto his lips. "I hope it's not too much trouble." "No trouble at all," Emily replied, trying to mask her unusual excitement. She stepped aside to let him in, catching a whiff of his familiar cologne mixed with the rain-soaked air. It felt like a tidal wave of memories flooding back. Inside, the kitchen was a whirlwind of flour and chocolate, their earlier clumsiness still lingering in the aroma of warm cookies. "We just made double chocolate chip cookies," Emily exclaimed, pointing toward the cooling rack as her sister bounced excitedly nearby. "You should try one." "Did you really make those?" Liam's eyebrows shot up in delight, and his earlier nerves appeared to dissipate. "I remember those whenever I'd come over during the holidays. The whole house smelled like baked goods." The nostalgia wrapped around them, a warm comfort that softened the day's tension. Watching Liam munch on the cookie, Emily could almost feel her heart blossom. Her hopes for rekindling old friendships danced at the edge of something more. Her mother, sensing the shift in atmosphere, smiled at the two of them. "Maybe we need to start a cookie business," she teased, her laughter mingling with the light-hearted banter between Emily and Liam. "Now that's a great idea," Emily said, leaning in closer to Liam, the thought of working on something together igniting a spark. "We could call it Sweet Connections or something cheesy like that." Liam chuckled, but there was a glimmer of seriousness behind it. "You know, I'd actually love to help with something like that," he said, his face lighting up. "I've been trying to find my passion again after college, and baking sounds fun." As their conversation flowed, Emily's doubts faded away. It felt effortless, memories wove into the present, stitching their pasts together with their aspirations. Ideas bounced back and forth, each one bringing a renewed sense of purpose. But amid the laughter and planning, there was a moment when Emily locked eyes with her mother. An unspoken recognition passed between them. Her mother had been struggling with clarity, but here was the connection filled with laughter and warmth that could bring them all back together. The rain began to lighten outside, and Emily felt a flicker of hope lighting up her heart. "Maybe this recipe night isn't just about cookies," she mused aloud, bouncing ideas turned deep revelations. "It might be about us reconnecting." "Yeah," Liam replied, nodding. The sincerity in his voice sent shivers down her spine. "Sometimes the things we need to rediscover are right under our noses." But the moment was cut short when the doorbell rang again, jarring them from their bubble of camaraderie. Emily's stomach twisted. What if this sudden turn brought a distraction? As she looked at Liam, he returned her gaze, and they both shared an understanding. What if this new surprise changed everything? Would it threaten the fragile connections they were just beginning to build? With her heart racing once more, Emily opened the door. Standing there was someone she hadn't seen in years, a face she had almost forgotten yet filled with memories that could change everything again. "Hey, can we talk?" the newcomer asked with an intensity that sent a chill down her spine. Emily's breath caught. Everything she had begun to weave together now hung in the balance. Emily felt the warmth of the kitchen fade, replaced by a sudden chill. The familiar face standing at her doorstep was that of Tom, her high school crush, his easy smile now holding an air of urgency. Time seemed to stand still as memories flooded back, the laughter they shared over homework, the dances where she dreamed he would ask her to slow dance, and the unspoken words lingering between them. "Tom, what are you doing here?" she stuttered, trying to keep the surprise from turning into panic. "Can we talk?" "It's important," he replied, glancing nervously over his shoulder as if worried someone might overhear. Emily hesitated. Liam stood behind her, an unsaid question hanging in the air between them. This moment felt pivotal, a weight of choices pressing down on her. The laughter of her sister and the sweet aroma of cookies slowly faded into the background. Yeah, sure," she finally said, stepping outside and closing the door behind her. She could feel Liam's gaze, full of questions, as she faced Tom. "What is going on?" "I've been back in town for a few days. I wanted to see you to apologize," he said, his hands stuffed into his pockets. "Things ended between us on a weird note, and I've thought about it a lot." Emily's heart raced. She remembered that summer when they drifted apart. But did she even want to reopen that chapter? "Tom, it was a long time ago," she replied, trying to sound steady. "I know. I messed up. I didn't appreciate what we had," he said, his voice layered with regret. "I came to realize something big. I think about you often, Em." Those words hit her like a punch. Could it really be that his feelings lingered, too? But here she was, standing in the rain with Liam just behind her, sharing smiles over cookies and dreams of sweet connections. While torn between nostalgia and newfound connection with Liam, Emily felt the weight of the moment. "I appreciate that, Tom, but I'm in a different place now." "But are you happy? Really?" he asked, leaning closer. "Are you doing what you love?" The question tugged at something deep inside her. Maybe she was searching for happiness, trying to stitch together broken pieces. "Look, I was just starting to see where things could go with Liam," Emily admitted, guilt creeping into her voice as she thought of the warmth shared over iced cookies and laughter. "It feels like I don't know, something real." At the sound of Liam's deeper voice calling her name gently, the tension tightened. "Emily, everything all right?" "Yeah. Just a second." She called back, heart thumping. The door felt like a dividing line, the warmth of the kitchen contrasting with the chill creeping in from the rain-soaked porch. Tom stepped back, sensing her hesitation. "I don't want to complicate things. But if you ever want to talk, I'm here. I've missed you, Em." As he walked away, the uncertainty spread through her like a storm cloud. Was she truly ready to let go of old memories for something uncertain and new? "Em?" Liam's voice held a thread of concern now, and she turned to him. Their eyes locked, and everything she wanted flickered to life. Then Emily noticed the ominous storm beginning to brew again outside, mirroring the chaos within her. Who was she really meant to be with? As she found her footing, the door creaked open once more. This time, the familiar sights and sounds faded into the backdrop, leaving her at a crossroads where the past and future collided. "Emily, I have to say something," Liam started, the intensity in his gaze urging her to listen. What would he reveal next? Would it change everything she had just begun to feel? Emily stood at the threshold, the rain drizzling a soft symphony around her. It had been a whirlwind of emotions, doubts, dreams, and flickering connections all swirled in her heart. The moment felt heavy, like a scene from a movie where the protagonist must choose between two paths, both filled with promise and uncertainty. "Emily, I have to say something," Liam began, his voice steady yet charged. Her heart raced, anticipation coursing through her. She stepped closer, wanting desperately to hear what was on his mind. "Don't you see? I admire what you're doing. This festival idea, bringing families together, sharing recipes, it's beautiful. And I want to be part of it, he confessed. I see your passion, and it's so inspiring. His words washed over her, a warm tide that nudged her heart forward. How could he see so clearly what she had struggled to articulate? Really? You want to join the festival? She asked, hope sparking in her eyes. Absolutely. We can make it happen together, he declared, the energy between them blooming. But I also want you to know something important. I've been holding back because of your past with Tom. I don't want to step on any toes. For a moment, everything faded except for Liam's words. The thought of Tom lingered there, a ghost flitting in her mind. But the feelings she shared with Liam felt like sunlight breaking through clouds, illuminating her heart. This is a new chapter for me, she said slowly, clarity dawning. I'm ready to pursue dreams that matter to me. I want to create something real and lasting. Just then, her phone buzzed in her pocket, jolting her back. It was a message from Marcus. I'm so proud of you. Can't wait to see how the cooking night turns out. You're ready for this. Emily felt a rush of gratitude pour into her veins. This was her moment, her transformation. She turned to Liam again, determination blazing in her eyes. Let us do it. The festival, the cooking nights, everything. We'll create a community, one filled with joy and stories. Liam grinned and took her hand, squeezing gently. Then let us get started. Together. As they made plans, the worries about Tom dulled. This new connection felt right, full of possibility. They drew a vision of the festival filled with people, laughter, and the heartwarming essence of home. The rain began to ease, and just then, Emily's mother stepped outside, peeking out from the kitchen. Her expression brightened like the sun breaking through the clouds. What is going on? She asked, her curiosity piqued. Mom. We were just discussing the cooking night and the festival, Emily called, her heart warm with pride. Want to join us? Her mother's face softened, and the spark in her eyes brightened. I'd love to. Maybe I can share the lasagna recipe? It's a favorite. Emily's heart soared. Here they were, drawing family and community closer together. With every shared recipe, they were stitching their lives into a beautiful tapestry. Minutes turned into hours as excitement built among them. The sound of laughter filled the kitchen, mingling with the delightful aroma of the cookies they had baked. Emily felt the distance between her and her mother diminish, each recipe they shared a thread pulling them closer. The soft glow of hope surrounded them like a warm embrace. Moments earlier, she sensed an impending storm, but now, it felt like sunshine washing over each of them. Emily knew without a shadow of a doubt that this was the moment, a real beginning. As they gathered around the kitchen table, baking supplies scattered and laughter echoing off the walls, Emily took a deep breath. She looked out at the world beyond the porch, the raindrops glistening like diamonds. Sometimes, dreams feel out of reach. Sometimes, they seem impossible. But Emily recognized that she was on the cusp of something grand, one where her passion, her love for family, and friendships intertwined into a fulfilling, vibrant life. Ready? Liam asked, drawing her back into the present. Ready, she affirmed. As she stepped into her new life, Emily realized this transformation wasn't about choosing one path or another. It wasn't about letting go of her family or past. It was about weaving the old and new together, embracing all that she loved. With surrounded laughter and love, she knew this was just the beginning for them all. And as all the pieces came together, one thing became crystal clear: she was home. If you feel inspired by Emily's journey, this is the moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel, so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Every click makes a difference. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your support fuels us. Let us spread this energy together.